Using Vanishing Point is an excellent way to paste a photograph into another one in order to match the perspective. I'm going to do a quick select all to select everything in this document, and then choose Edit and Copy in order to copy it to the clipboard. Then I'll move to the Iceland image, and in order to do this in a flexible manner, I'll add a new layer by clicking on the new layer icon at the bottom of the Layers panel. Then I'll choose Filter and Vanishing Point. I need to use the Perspective Plane tool in order to define the perspective of the house here. So I'll click once, and then again here along the edge of that roof line in order to start dragging out the perspective plane. Then I'm just going to kind of estimate here where I should drag this over using that window as a guide. I can always make changes to it, and in fact I have to, because right now it's telling me that this is an illegal plane. It doesn't actually exist in nature, but sure enough, just making a quick little refinement there in order to match the bottom of the window gives me this blue plane, which enables me to do what we want to do, which eventually is to paste an image in. But I want the image to not only fit along this portion of the building, but also the side of the building. So I'll hold down the Command key on Mac or the Control key on Windows and drag out my secondary plane. Then I'll select the corner point and just drag that down in order to match the perspective. I can also click and drag on the center point icons, and I can click on the other plane to activate it and drag that down as well in order to expand the plane. All right. Now, since I've got that other image copied to the clipboard, I can use the keyboard shortcut Command V on Mac or Control V on Windows in order to paste that in. Then I'm going to tap the T key, which is going to select the Transform tool. And right now there seems to be a little bug in Vanishing Point that I'm experiencing, but by the time it ships, hopefully that will be all taken care of. I'm going to hold down the Option and the Shift key and then click and drag in order to transform this down. But you'll notice that I actually don't get a redraw of the screen. So I'm going to use Command minus just to zoom out, and you can see that Photoshop did actually transform that. Then with the Transform tool still selected, I'm just going to drag it inside or on top of the perspective plane. But again, I'm getting a little bit of a redraw issue here, so I'll use Command plus in order to zoom in. Now I can make this a little bit larger. I'm going to hold down the Shift key to constrain the proportions and just drag out until I think it's about the right size. Again, I should be seeing that in real time, but I'll need to use Command 0 to just zoom out a little bit to redraw the screen. And then I know that I need to move this over a bit, so I'm just going to need to kind of guesstimate how much I'm going to need to move that, and then again use Command plus in order to zoom in. Okay, so again, that is just a redraw issue that hopefully will be solved by the time this ships. But now that we've got that in position, I'll go ahead and click OK in order to apply the Vanishing Point. Of course, the problem is that while it did wrap around the corner of the building, we can't see through that layer. So I'm going to change the blend mode using the Layers panel, and I'll just switch this to something like Hard Light. Then in order to make it look a little bit more realistic, I want to hide it from the window area, so I will toggle off the visibility on the Layers panel, then zoom in using Command plus, use the spacebar to reposition the image, and with the Polygonal Lasso tool, I'm just going to click in order to draw straight lines around the window. I don't think I really want it on the window frame either, so I will select that, come up the right side of the window, and then if I want to, I can add to this selection using the elliptical marquee tool, clicking the second icon here to add to my selection, and I'm just going to drag a circle or an ellipse around these two other items on the wall. I can hold down the space bar if I need to reposition that, so I'll just make that a little bit more accurate there. And then again, I'll do the same thing for this last object. Again, just holding down the space bar if I need to reposition the marquee. All right, we'll make the layer 1 visible. And then in order to add a mask that will actually hide the information that I have selected, I'll hold down the Option key on the Mac or the Alt key on Windows and click on the mask icon. I'll use Command 0 in order to zoom out. So there you go, an easy way to paste one image into another and match the perspective using the vanishing point filter in Photoshop.